strategically building out and all this other stuff. But one day at a time.
I know.
Started but not quite yet if you're, so you can continue talking amongst yourself or just
No, they still.
just everyone gets quiet.
I know, I got real quiet.
Well, it's almost final season, so that's okay though.
I think we should kind of work through some tech stuff.
Yeah.
That's a lot of technology.
I
like referencing it.
That's awesome. Wow. I would love to. Too well, yeah. So I'm like, oh, right in the mix of it. Like, you get done with something. I'm done with one else. It really can't be. I feel quite optimistic, even though it's
All right, good evening, everyone. We're going to go ahead and get started. So first and foremost, thank you on behalf of WashU Votes and Graduate Impact Forum and the Gephardt Institute for Civic and Community Engagement for being out tonight. You may be wondering what all of the technology for, and we are doing a YouTube live tonight. So the microphones will be recording, and so during the question and answer session, if you want to ask a question using the microphone, you are consenting for your voice to be broadcast on the YouTube live series. If you would not prefer this, then we will have Post-it notes and pens. Just raise your hand if you would prefer to give us a question that way, and we can read it for you that way. Tomorrow is election day, so if you need any information, go to woosel.turbovote.org, and the polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. We hope you all have all the information for that you need. And last, we are going to introduce our guest tonight.
Hello, everyone. These are our guests tonight, Kelly and Shavanna. Kelly is a Brown School alum from the MPH program and the founder and executive director of Transform 314. And Shavanna is the host of the Hood Talks podcast that you can see on her shirt.
Thank you.
All right.
So without further ado, we will turn it over to them.
Thank you for those lovely intros. I was like, ooh, we all like special and stuff. But so I'm Kelly McGowan, and this is
Shavanna. Spratt.
right. And so this is what we do. We do this every week, y'all, basically. And we talk all things local government, because that's what Transform 314 is all about. But we try to keep it very conversational. We're not dry people individually or collectively, so we try to keep it conversational and informative. And so obviously this Monday Night Live is all about the elections, because them mugs is tomorrow.
Yes.
And it is going to be very interesting. We're going to get into it now.
Very interesting.
So we're going to start. So we talk about city stuff and county stuff. We're technically in St. Louis County right now, so we'll start off with St. Louis County.
Oh, Lord.
Dang. I know. So real quick, again, for people that are St. Louis County residents, St. Louis County, they do have a sample ballot lookup tool. So I'm just putting that out there because St. Louis County is special, because y'all got 3 million different municipalities. So, depending on where you live, that's what you'll vote on. So we always try to share this resource with people because it's so many different nuances. So we had to plug that. So what's going to be on the ballot in St. Louis County? Again, this is a super high level overview. So highlight number 1. Taxing recreational marijuana. So the state of Missouri, so we passed this. I know, this is real. So we passed this, right? And the state of Missouri like immediately they're like, we getting our 6% off top. Okay, so they got 6%.
6%.
Now St. Louis County will have voters decide on applying an additional 3% sales tax, right, on recreational marijuana purchased in all of St. Louis County. And I like that little bullet under there. This is a direct quote from St. Louis County's website, what Prop M is given. Where's this money gonna go? So as you can see, could bring in about $3 million and will be used for general purposes, such as police, parks, and roads, right? Okay.
General purposes.
That's what they said. I just copy and paste. Copy and paste. St. Louis County website. Prop in, peep that. We're not making this up. So, so this is where it gets interesting. So in addition to St. Louis County trying to get that additional 3%, there are over 30 municipalities, including Clayton and U City, that are also, they want an additional 3% tax. So Missouri getting 6%, St. Louis County getting 3%, and the municipalities getting an additional 3% on top of that.
It's the boo for me. Because I feel that.
I mean, that's real. So
6% and then another possibly 6%.
I'm just telling you. So, but I will say, they're trying to figure out if this is legal or not. If this stacking of taxes is legal. So
Racks on racks.
We'll see. We'll see.
Racks and stacking taxes.
When the voters decide. We'll see what happens, y'all.
Voters decide.
That's.
I bet everybody who ain't indulging ain't gonna vote yes.
But you know what? No, because there have been some really interesting, people, even just the different environments and stuff we've been in talking about this. People are like, what the hell is this? Like, people are not checking for this because, again, specifically, what are you doing with these coins? Like,
that's the question.
Because y'all messing around with the money y'all got now. So what's going to happen with these coins? So, and I'm with it. Like, we should know. There should be some transparency as far as where this money goes. So I'm here for it.
Because that will make it easier, yes or no, too, at the same time.
Exactly.
Like, if you can say, yeah, it's going to the school system. Oh, okay.
Right.
You have a plan?
General purposes. That's the plan. General purposes. So, all right, y'all, these municipal races. Woo. So what races are we peeping? Again, it's 3,000,000 different municipalities in St. Louis County. So we're just highlighting a few. So the interest in mayoral races, challenging the incumbent. We got Bell Fountain neighbors. So this is these are some of the North County municipalities I know I'm watching. So Bell Fountain neighbors, that's gonna be spicy. Ferguson.
It's very spicy.
So can you share? Can you share? This is a Ferguson resident, so can you please tell the people, Vanna, what's going on in your city?
Depending on how this race goes, I might be coming somewhere else. But oh yeah, Ferguson. Shout out to Ferguson. So we had technically 3 candidates for our mayor run race, and one of them was a council person who got recalled, and they filed before they were recalled. So technically the name is on the ballot, but I learned that even if people were going to vote with Shavanna, I'm not sure, but she couldn't even take over the space as mayor because she was recalled. The city of Ferguson, the people said, no, get out. And so we now have Nick Kassoff and current mayor Ella Jones. And so it has really been a very interesting time in Ferguson during this race. It's been a time in Ferguson, period. And I don't think we've moved forward as we should be able to, especially with the eyes of the world on Ferguson. And I don't think it's one or the other issue. It's like a lack of collectiveness and working together. It's still the fight. And this race is even throwing coal into the fire of that as well. So I am on, like,
I know.
looking at what happens tomorrow, because I do live there, and I do care about that city a lot. So, and I'm raising babies there. So I got 2 little girls I'm raising there. So it is a lot over there, but
I know.
the work continues.
The work continues.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
We shall see. Yeah.
We shall see. Ooh, I'll be peeping that for real
I'm
tomorrow.
I'm not gonna peep it. I'm just gonna go to sleep and then wake up.
Wake up the next
Wednesday.
day. You're gonna wake up on Wednesday and then you're gonna check to see like who won? Who won?
Because then if I don't, I'll probably be somewhere else.
So I won't text you. I won't text you tomorrow, okay? I won't text you. I'll wait until Wednesday.
I'm going into hiding.
I'll wait till Wednesday.
Yeah, let's see. Shout out to Ferguson.
Shout out to Ferguson.
Jenny's.
Oh, Jennings.
That's a good one too, though. That is really an interesting race as well.
You have some, like maybe a couple current alder people. You have a former alder person or council person, and again, going against the incumbent mayor, Ilana Austin. So it's going to be interesting. And again, a lot of these races historically really haven't been this competitive. So it's been real interesting.
It has been really interesting.
So I did want to lift this up because I know we in this area. Clayton has some aldermanic candidates in all 3 wards. Now, I'm not familiar with these folks. I'm just going to keep it real. But you have 2 of the 3 wards, people are running unopposed.
Wow.
And then the 3rd ward candidate, there's just 2 candidates, 2 people running. The incumbent and a newbie, I guess, someone else. So, again, I'm just lifting this up because, these municipal races are extremely, extremely, extremely important. We were talking about the taxing of recreational marijuana. These people, they decide where those dollars go. So people be sleeping on them. People need to get woke and wake up. Well, maybe I shouldn't use woke now. I don't know, because I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing that in the news.
We're going to get kicked off YouTube.
You know what? No, let me stop. So the last, something else I wanted to highlight was St. Louis County School Board elections. Extremely, extremely important. So we're lifting up a few of the school districts that are seeking voters to elect their board members. So Ferguson, Florissant.
Which I did go vote today, so you guys see I do have
Look.
I voted.
So I have a question for you, because we talked about this during Kicking It for a Cause with the fact that the Ferguson-Florissant School District, I believe, is the only school district in the state that is where their candidates are decided through this cumulative voting situation. Have people heard of this? Mm-hmm. Yeah? No?
Yeah, no.
Okay, some people. So we got a mixed crowd. So real quick, voters cast as many votes as there are seats. So for instance, I know with this election, there were 3, right? 3 open seats. So voters have 3 votes, and then they can divvy up those votes accordingly. So how was that? I wanted to ask, how was your experience with that voting today?
So one thing I didn't notice that I never really noticed in the past is that they did, or maybe that was just at the Board of Elections. Anyway, but they gave me this little little thing that kind of talked about like what it is, how you vote. But for me, I chose one candidate. But you have the options to say, like, if you feel like all 3, you can give each one of them one of your points or whatever. So, but yeah, it's weird because when you learn that this is the only area that's doing it, it's like, why? Why are we the only ones? And I know we've talked about this before. It was like court order possibly. So
yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out what that means and what's that giving.
Same.
It's still something to learn about, but it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Okay.
But it seems awkward.
Yeah, it does.
Cause like, even if you vote or you choose each person, like, I don't know. It's how do they tally it up and count it, and like, what if everybody? So, I don't know. It's just interesting. It's interesting.
that process is interesting. But hopefully, because I'm still digging around because I want to know. I'm just curious to know.
I do too. So when you know, let me know.
I will. You know I will. You'll be the first person I hit up.
It's interesting.
I know. A couple other school board elections. We have Normandy and University City, U City. Some elections there as well. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So apparently there were a number of school districts where technically there aren't any elections happening because the number of open seats equaled the number of candidates that filed. I didn't know this was a thing. I only knew because I spoke with someone that's on the Hazelwood school district on the board with a lot of things going on with Jenna Elementary and radioactive contamination in the school with the babies, closing down school. So I spoke to her and she was like, yeah, we're not even having an election and blah, blah. And I'm like, what? You're not even having an election? So this is what she was talking about because no one's filing to run.
That is really interesting, but I'm not shocked.
So, again, these are just a few of the school districts, y'all. Clayton, Hazelwood, Jennings, and Riverview Gardens School District.
And you said that they're candidates, but since they have the same amount of candidates for the open seats, they're just like,
you're good. You good. There you go. You filed. Cool. There you go.
Like, you're not even.
Congratulations.
But still, like, you would think you would give the community the option to say, like, yay or nay. You just like, hey, you filled it. Let's go. That's interesting.
I mean, people ain't.
I was like, is that in the charter? Maybe it's in the charter. Because that's interesting.
And people ain't checking for it.
I still think that would be maybe their names will still be on the ballot. Because, like, when you go and someone's unopposed, they're still on the ballot. Yeah, so maybe, I don't know. I would love to know that. So if anybody lives in that area and they get a ballot, please let us know if there's names on it. Because that's interesting.
Yeah. I'm sure their names probably are on the ballot, but I know.
Because, like, how do you know who is the people? Like, can you just...
I mean, I guess they already in there. They in like Flynn. I'm sorry, y'all. I know.
You signed up. Just go. Go ahead. You're great. We don't have to vote about it. It's cool.
And, I will lift up, maybe not necessarily in those school districts that I had listed, but, I mean, school boards, elections and school boards are really politicized these days. It's been real extreme between people talking about CRT and want to throw away anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I mean all the things, banning books and a parent's Bill of Rights, and I mean, who wants to deal with that? I don't. Shoot.
Yeah,
and
it's your free time that you're volunteering.
Right. It's a complete volunteer capacity. So
yeah, so that's a lot. It's important, though, because look at our schools.
I know, extremely important.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. So we're going to talk about the city now.
Oh, yay.
And then after we talk about the city, we'll open it up for thoughts, questions, and stuff, I guess. Because I see some very interesting facial expressions right now. St. Louis City, I am a proud City of St. Louis resident. Yes, stand up, City of St. Louis. So, I tell everyone, if there are any city residents out there, please know your new ward. Again, please know your new ward, okay? We are in a very historic part in our history. Case. We're going from 28 to 14 wards. That may not seem like a big deal, but trust y'all, it is a huge deal. And a lot of people really don't know what new ward they're in. It's just a lot of confusion. So I'm always trying to plug that in to help folks to kind of know how they can find that information if they don't have access to it. So speaking of, we talking about these new wards. So I got this little video I kind of want to show y'all because literally everybody is running. So all the folks that want to run and represent these new wards, all of them got to run, okay? Everybody, yeah. People have been calling it Aldergeddon and all this other stuff. they got to battle it out if they want to keep their job. So I'm going to play this video real quick. It lays out what's happening, who's running, and why people should really care.
The city of St. Louis has been structured as 28 wards since 1914. Well, y'all, that time is long and gone. And now we will be operating as 14 wards. On April 4th, St. Louis City voters will choose the 14 members of the Board of Aldermen who will pass the laws impacting our communities. Plus, the blow up is real. Their salary will increase from $37,000 a year to over $70,000 a year, y'all. And with these folks making more coins, we really need to know who they are, since we, the people, will be picking them. So, who's in the running? Starting on the south side, in Ward 1, Ann Schweitzer versus Tony Kirchner. In Ward 2, Thomas Oldenburg versus Phil Menendez. Ward 3 is already decided because current Alderman Shane Coney has no opponent. In Ward 4, Joseph Vaccaro versus Brenda Ryan. In Ward 5, Joseph Vollmer versus Helen Petty. In Ward 6, Daniela Velasquez versus Jennifer Florida. In Ward 7, Alicia Saunier versus J.P. Mitchum. Ward 8, Kara Spencer versus Kenneth Gordon. Now, looking to the middle of the city. In Ward 9, Michael Browning versus Tina Peel. In Ward 10, Shameen Clark Hubbard versus Emmett Cole. And rounding it out with the north side. In Ward 11, Laura Keys versus Carla Wright. In Ward 12, Sharon Titus versus Tashara Earl. In Ward 13, Pamela Boyd versus Norma Walker. In Ward 14, Ebony Washington versus Rasheen Aldridge. It will be on us, city voters, to decide who will make it to the final 14. Make sure y'all do your research before voting. And contact the city's Board of Elections with any questions about getting yours on the ballot and where to cast your vote on April 4th. Tell a friend, and see y'all at the polls.
Ooh. I know, y'all. There's a lot. There's a lot in that graphic. I also have to shout out a producer by the name of Black Spade. Shout out to him. I don't know if y'all have heard of him. He is a local legend. So he provided that beat to your girl, and I was like, oh, thank you. Stand up. But anyway, so it's a lot going on, y'all. It's a lot going on. That's all I'm gonna say, because I ain't trying to be canceled. But it is a lot going on. So just make sure you're informed on who you choose tomorrow. Lord help us. Highlight number 2. Creating a chart. So this is something that obviously the older people, and that's really important because again, y'all, they making more money. That's a whole other conversation, but they're making way more with their salary that they voted on. Yeah, I know, right? Who does that? I mean, I wish I could do that, but
power to the people, right?
yeah, right. But that's taken a lot of publicity, most of the publicity. That's what people have been talking about with this election, and that's important. I'm not downplaying that, but there are other things on the ballot. First of which, this charter commission. So Prop C is on the ballot, and so have people heard of a charter? Yeah, okay. So y'all know, all right. So just think about this. Our city's charter has not been updated in over 100 years, like in mad long. Okay,
That's crazy.
And that isn't unique though to a lot of other
these other
cities.
areas, yeah.
But if Proposition C passes, then that means that a commission will be created who will review our charter every 10 years and make recommendations. And something I really stress to folks in community, this charter commission, they don't have the power to change the charter. They can just recommend. The people, we have the power to change the charter, which I think that's really impactful, you know?
It's interesting.
So we'll see how people vote on that, but not a lot of people have been talking about this. All right, also highlight number 3, everybody's taxing recreational marijuana.
Rats on bags.
I know. For general purposes.
General purposes.
And then, our schools. So we do have the St. Louis Public Schools Board of Education candidates. We have some folks. We get to choose 2 folks. So I know there's a third candidate, Tracy Hikes, who is not pictured on here, but, they're in the running. I will say for folks, because I did this earlier today, there was a candidate forum. So shout out to the St. Louis Public Schools and the League of Women Voters. They held a candidate forum. It was actually the evening of our Kicking It For Our Cause on Thursday. But it's on YouTube. Look it up. So I listened to it earlier today to have a more informed decision of who I was going to vote for. It was very interesting. It was a very interesting forum.
Shout out to the city, though. You guys have a lot of forums. You guys do.
You know what? No,
compared to the county, I think like the city has forums all the time. Now, the League of Women Voters did do one in Ferguson.
Yeah, they did.
But still, I think we could up that up a little bit more. But that's just my thoughts.
I agree. I ain't mad at the city having their forums now.
Y'all forum it out.
But honestly, I feel like if all of these forums are happening because of the ward reduction.
It's historical.
Yeah. And everybody, they want that job because they get paid more.
Yeah, $70,000 a year. I wouldn't turn that down.
Stop. Trying to get me canceled. So I learned this, the St. Louis Community College Board of Trustees. So, I don't remember ever voting for these folks ever, and I vote. So I'm like, I was talking to my mom, I'm like, have we voted for these folks before? Because I've never heard this before. So apparently the folks on this board, the members, they determine the policies of St. Louis Community College, make decisions about how, funds are spent, student fees, establishing new programs, all those things. There are 4 sub-districts in St. Louis Community College's service area. I didn't know. So, like I said, for most of the city of St. Louis, we're in sub-district 2. So, we have these 2 candidates to choose between. And I'm not sure if there could have been, I don't know, any forums or any type of information specifically, or any, ways for people to kind of
know who they are. Because serving for a 6-year term is a long time.
That is a long ass time.
6 years is a long time.
So that's it. So that's it for the most part. If people have any questions, comments, concerns, I just tell people, contact the Board of Elections. Don't contact me. Contact the Board of Elections, okay? Because that's what they get paid to do. Let me stop. But definitely contact them. There's just been a lot of, confusions and questions and polling locations and what do I do? Contact them because that's what they're there for, right? And, I'm just plugging. I'm plugging the League of Women Voters, Metro St. Louis, their website. They have a resource, vote411.org. Check it out. It lays out pretty much most of the candidates. I know they have their own voter guide and some of the questions that they ask folks. And so it kind of lays it out really nicely for those candidates that respond. But it's a very helpful resource. So, yeah. That concludes our, formal conversation. So I don't know if folks had any questions, comments, thoughts, because I've seen some very interesting facial expressions since we've been sitting up here.
Sure. Hello.
Oh, it's on. It's for the audio.
Oh. Hello.
Hey. I know.
My name is Eric. You mentioned the Ferguson race, and I was actually in Ferguson just yesterday for a group project in one of my classes, and we were talking to one of the community members, and they also shared the
dynamics
going on.
The craziness.
with this mayoral
the
campaign. And that was the first time I heard of it, so I would love to just know more about the stickiness that is apparently going on over there.
I can.
Go ahead, girl.
It's should I show him?
No, yeah.
should I show you?
So, yeah, you go. Take that.
I'm going to take it. I want to show you, and I'll let you guys pass this on and you tell me how you guys feel about it. Can you pass that?
Oh,
Please, thank you. Yeah, I got that fit to my home, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how you feel. I think for me right now, a lot of people, and it's about education and why I'm so big on civic engagement, but education part of it, my own experiences, and I've been in Ferguson since 2011, 2012, so, and I consider myself, sometimes I'll be like, I wasn't always tapped in, right? And so I wasn't aware, and I'm just going on survival. A lot of people over in Ferguson is in survival mode. And so I think a lot of times people don't know how much power, which she doesn't, the power play or dynamic of Ferguson. We have a mayor, of course, that votes, sometimes can vote with the council. She's like that extra vote. But the city manager is the one who really technically runs Ferguson. So some things that are being said and some things that are being promised, a mayor technically cannot do. Mm-hmm. So I think in Ferguson, a lot of folks don't know that dynamic. And so some folks can run with the hopes of, yeah, we want this back and we want this done and we want that. And I'm going to do it. But if you don't have the power, because it goes back to what the charter says. And our city, again, is run by a city manager, who now we have the fire chief, I believe, because we just... We've interim.
It's been a lot. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
We can't keep a city manager. We can't keep a police chief. I mean, it's like... And the consent decree that we have there's a lot of folks that hate the consent decree, that want it to just be gone, and they don't understand that you still have to abide by that consent decree, and there's things that needs to be done, that has to be done, and so, and some people, again, just promising things, and so that, to me, it's like a false hope. And again, what power that position really plays. So that's a lot of what it is that's happening right now, and I think is another thing folks are playing off of people's fear. And that's a lot when we talk about what's happening in divisions, not just in Ferguson, but worldwide, right? So, that's what Ferguson is right now.
Bless it.
I know.
This also provides extra context of what I also heard about this particular person. I'm so sorry.
And can you believe, on the next side of that, it was a quote from Obama. Oh yeah.
So think about that, y'all. And I know we talk about that all the time, about just these distraction tactics. That's what I call them, complete distraction, because that makes absolutely no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. But some people will look at that and they'll be like, oh, look at the, Makes absolutely no sense. It's the most ridiculous thing I've probably seen. Completely offensive.
Very much so.
And very ridiculous. But some folks, again, that are not engaged, that are not aware, they will feed into that frenzy and share, and then it blows up into this thing that has nothing. Yeah.
It is so funny because I had a friend who recently just moved in Ferguson, and she's like, she moved from Florissant, and she's just like, oh my God, it's so community here. Then I had the lady who I just kind of we just kind of walked past each other, and she was just talking about how she just came from Hazelwood, and she's like, I love it here, and I'm just like, and she just moved here too. So I'm just like, it's still like, Ferguson has really a great community build. It's just a couple of folks who, again, are just staring up craziness. And yes, we have work to do. We have work to do everywhere.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's everybody.
Work to do.
That's everybody.
But again, it's also, we don't have enough people engaged.
Part.
So what does that look like? And all of that other dynamics that, again, I feel like is beyond just Ferguson. But so that's why I'm over here like, prayers. Prayers.
But yeah, to your point about, you have this minority, but they're loud.
Blogs and all.
But again, they're a minority. But because they're so loud, because of the blog, or I call it a tabloid, but because of that, you know.
TMZ.
Yeah, literally,
TMZ.
But because you see it, because it is on social media, it appears that it's really representative.
It represents the city.
Of the city. It in actuality.
It doesn't.
But we need more people.
We need more and people to show up.
To engage, to be vocal, to amplify their voices, to offer a more realistic, I believe, representation of Ferguson is. Because I really do think that's a minority.
Oh, I know it is. I live there. It is. But like you said, they're just loud. They're loud and they're, how can I say this in a nice way? Hit below the belt. Yeah, they do that a lot. So people who try to come and do different things, they're ready to like knock it down. So
let me ask you this. Do you think that dynamic has changed since, you know, this Trump era? Like, do you think that the election of Trump has kind of
made stuff?
Yeah. Has it changed drastically since then, do you think?
Around the world, yes.
But I'm talking about Ferguson.
Yes, because Ferguson is just like what we see. And I look at, I live in Ferguson. I engage on the state level of politics. I'm crazy. And I engage in the federal level of politics. And what I see in Ferguson is what I'm seeing on our state level and on our federal level as well. And so, yes, I believe that has a big play as well in what's coming down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And St. Louis County, too. You know, the county council meetings, you know, are a whole other, if anyone's ever, I'm telling you, y'all should check. Shout out to Maya back there. Shout out to her, bless her heart, for checking one of those out. But St. Louis County Council, it is very, very, very different.
Yeah, it is.
It is very different. It's scary.
It is scary.
It's very scary. It's disturbing to me to hear.
So that's why when I say, like, you see it on your direct local level, you see it on, you know, the city of St. Louis or county of St. Louis level, you see it on the state level. I mean, so I tell people you just got to have hope, because that is very, sometimes it's like, what can you do?
Yeah, what can you do?
What can you do?
And I just think our region is special in so many ways. Many ways. We don't have enough time for me to explain why our region is so special. But again,
we'll be here all night.
Right, but you've got St. Louis County, which is kind of a little.
Two different governments,
you got some real MAGA energy going on, and then the city. You know, the city of St. Louis.
Divides.
You know,
look how they even divided y'all wards.
Even though we're blue, but there's still a lot of divisions, and it's still a lot there as well.
Yeah. Again, we didn't really get to talk about this, but I wanted to a little bit on the show. We did a show recently on the Hood Talks podcast to talk about collectiveness and collaboration, and I was like, it was called St. Louis versus St. Louis, because I swear everywhere you see it's the division. On many levels, organizations don't want to work together. The local government doesn't want to work together. Everyone is like just headbutting, and it's like, who's suffering? We're all suffering.
We are.
Yeah, we're all suffering.
And again, we're too caught up in, you know, racism and all the other isms and the D's and the R's, and we're so divided that it blinds us and it distracts us from, again, the big picture, right? The big picture. But we're too caught up in fighting so-and-so. She looked at me crazy, and, you know, all these other just ridiculous
fighting of the resources,
distraction tactics. And unfortunately, you have a lot of stakeholders, they play on that. They do all day, every day, including some of our elected people. They they milk that and use that to their advantage. So how can we cut, and we talked about this, how can we cut through the noise, right? Like, how can we cut through that foolery, the distraction tactics?
I would say that's a question for the audience.
To really shine a light
Anybody
on
got
that.
any ideas?
Because I know, he's like, no, I'm not doing it. But, I mean, that's the truth. Because
Yeah,
I feel
would
like,
love to know.
even
That's a good
looking like, I
conversation.
mean, nationally and also our state, you know, because that gives me a headache. But, I mean, you know,
It's
really
crazy
looking
too.
at what's happening in Jefferson City, you know, which is just, I mean, it's like every day. It's just something.
around DEI now in the healthcare
It
part,
just-
and I mean the schools, the funding for the schools.
And libraries. Yes.
One of the things I heard yesterday, actually from my pastor at church, you know, St. Louis has recently established a reparation commission, which I applied to be one of the members of, didn't get it. But what I heard yesterday was because I'm part of a progressive group of people, and they wanted to make sure that that commission was not made up of people who think like me.
Progressive.
So I think that's going to be a very interesting
Committee.
move for the city. You know, I mean, if that's the case, okay, we're going to have people from all voices, you know, that's going to be serving on this committee and on this commission. So I think that was a good point for me to hear yesterday, that they are considering people from other backgrounds besides progressiveness to start this conversation. So I'm interested in seeing how this is going to come.
I think
How it's going to work out.
And I think that's, for me, the dynamics of what you just said. Like, we have to get, again, it's the divide, the progressives and the conservatives. I'm sure that there's something that we can all agree on at the end of the day, right? Like, if you're conservative, if you're progressive, we can agree on something. How can we sit down, and especially if you're in these positions of power and change and, you know, policy and all of this, you have that. How can we sit down and what can we agree on? How do we move those things forward? Because if we keep sitting here fighting about what we can agree on and why we can't agree on it, nothing is going to get done. Nothing. And that's the problem. So sitting down and having the conversations and being able to hash out, and then when you present it, comes like when you go to the county council and you're sitting on the council, have a plan to move forward. Don't sit there for hours wasting. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to get you canceled. Don't sit there for hours, because people are living, right? And I come from a different lens. Like, I have children, life, you know, you work, all these things. Oh, God, people are living. And so you want to waste people's time while you're sitting up there arguing about something that is just half the time is irrelevant.
Right, it has
Like,
nothing to do
it has
with...
nothing to do with what's needed.
Nothing to do with us and our needs.
Yeah, so it's like, just focus on what you can agree on and just move those things forward so that we can get progress. Because there's nothing progressing in our area. And it's crazy. So I agree that people should all be able to come and sit down at the table and hash it out and talk it through. But when you get to the front, like, let's have some plans and push those plans forward.
Something.
I don't have any solutions to that, but I did have a question about something else that I think Shavanna started to talk about, was the redistricting and how the wards have been redrawn. And someone on Thursday at Kicking It for a Cause pointed out that North City's representation is cut in half, basically. So didn't know if you want to talk about kind of how that changes the political dynamic and all of that.
So first and foremost, the disinvestment in North St. Louis City by design has been happening for decades and decades and decades. Full stop, period. Okay. So when we were talking about ward reduction, the voters actually decided in 2012 to reduce the wards from 28 to 14. Basically because city's population has declined, yada, yada, yada. It would make our city, I guess, work better, maybe more effective, maybe. So, okay, I wanna stress this. The voters voted for this in 2012.
2012.
Full stop, period. We are in 2023. there is really no way, no plan, nothing as far as how logistically, how that is going to work. Right now, our electeds, they know once they are elected tomorrow, they're going to be making a nice salary, a larger salary than before. But as far as, I'll just say, for instance, they're structured. Yeah. Something I learned, the Board of Aldermen, they share secretaries and they share an attorney to help them legislate. Now, how is this new structure? What support will they get? We don't know yet.
And because they're serving more people.
Yeah. So with the ward reduction, ultimately they will be serving more people, right? But this is the kicker. This is where it gets interesting. So if you look at the new city ward map, because most of the population is concentrated in the central corridor and on the south side, right? Mm-hmm. North side, people leaving because, I mean, again, by design. So if you look at the map, again, wards 1 through 8, south side, 9, 10, central corridor, 11, 12, 13, 14, north side. So you got basically 4 of the 14 wards that represent
the north side,
predominantly, yeah,
the black areas of,
yes. And then this is where it gets even more interesting. If you look at the ward map, some of the wards on the north side, particularly like I'm thinking 12, 13, the square mileage is triple that compared to your central corridor, your south side, right? Because, you know, people, you still have the same number of people. Legally, they had to do that, but they're more spread out because people left. And we also know on the north side, it's more issues when we're talking about infrastructure, vacant and abandoned properties, and just a lot of other socioeconomic issues that make it very challenging. So whoever wins tomorrow, who represents those wards, will have more people, more square mileage, no real plan on how to address some of those challenges.
And where that capacity is going to be.
And where their support and capacity and staffing is giving. So it's looking
real challenging.
It's looking real interesting.
Sounds like a challenge to me.
But I will share something we've been trying to, you know, really put out there through some of our community meetups we've had in the city, is really like holding the Board of Aldermen accountable on truly engaging community. And hell, right now they need all the help they can get, okay, with this change. So, you know, hopefully maybe there can be more intentional and authentic community engagement, because like I said, they're gonna need the help, point blank, period, because they, I mean, what are they gonna be able to do? And again, completely by design. Even when they were doing the new boundaries and the neighborhood boundaries, when they pushed this map through at the end of 2021, it was from like October to like December. These public meetings that were complete trash and a waste of time and really disrespectful, in my opinion. It was a joke. It was a check box to say, look, we engage the community. Ridiculous. So it was a joke of a job. And this is what we have, you know what I mean? So we have to work with what we got, but how can we leverage, again, our resources, our connections, to try to do the best that we can? Because this is what it is for the next 10 years until the next census rolls around. And that, the 2020 census is a whole other situation. But that's our reality.
Man.
I know, dang, that's so bleak.
But yeah,
I have a question. Could you speak at all on how the budget will work within the wards and what that's going to look like?
Oh, she tried you. Not
So I will share, a lot of conversation has been had around like the capital, the ward fund, capital funding, the ward capital funding. And so historically, those coins came about through, sales tax from the city of St. Louis, and then the coins were divvied up equally, okay? equally amongst the 28 wards. And it's really funny because some of the older people, I found it interesting speaking to even like my alderman, and it's fine because he ain't running again, so whatever. But my ward capital, my funding, but it's not your money.
It's not your
because
money.
That's our money, but you think it's your money. So that's a whole other thing. But that funding was earmarked specifically to support capital projects. So they couldn't just make it rain with whatever. It has a focus on fixing like lighting, sidewalk repair, parks, things of that nature. However, as we know, depending on where you live, you're gonna have more pressing infrastructure needs. So there have been some conversations had around equitably distributing those coins, and we're talking about like $300,000 roughly a year that it generates. So you can't do too much with $300,000 when we're talking about infrastructure projects. And so there was a lot of conversation had about how can we redistribute that and make it more equitable. There was a bill that came through the full board of aldermen, and it was like shot down. Like it was dead. It was like, and so they're gonna let the new board of aldermen decide on what happens with that. So I don't know, to continue with that.
Yeah. Interesting.
I really don't know what's gonna happen with that. It's whoever gets elected tomorrow.
They coming in and having to restructure everything. To restructure some stuff. So that's why it's important for folks to get out and vote, because those folks will be laying down what it's going to be for the next,
Yeah, and again, I'm literally gonna be tap dancing after tomorrow because the campaign.
I don't know, Kelly.
The campaign trail. I'm just saying because people say really nice things when they want your vote. Oh yeah, I'm all about engaging the community. Oh yeah, I'm all about equity. Oh yeah, because they want your vote. But it's gonna be interesting. Again, we're in a show me state, so
accountability.
Y'all gonna have to show me. This is what you said. I wrote it down. I got the receipts.
It's accountability.
So how are you showing up in that space? So I think it's an opportunity.
Because I'm telling you, Ferguson, all them promises, y'all gonna be a little mad, but we'll see. Hopefully.
I know, we'll see.
Any other questions?
I noticed Bell Fountain Neighbors was one of those communities. And you didn't elaborate at all on what was going on in Bell Fountain Neighbors, so I'm curious.
So
what's the tea on Bell Fountain?
About the community too.
So I will share this. Again, I'm the lady. I tend literally wait entirely too many local governmental meetings, and there are some municipal meetings that I can't really stomach consistently. Ferguson being one of them, and also, it's nasty, y'all. Like it's been really, petty, like just disrespectful, like it's anyway.
Yeah, please.
So Bell Fountain Neighbors, this was maybe last year. Yeah, like last year or late the year before. They couldn't have municipal meetings because their board of aldermen were beefing with one another. So you had two factions, right? Faction A, faction B. I don't like them and I don't like the mayor, so you know what? Let's protest. We ain't showing up for the meeting. So they couldn't handle the business of the city for over 6 months because people were fighting with one another and the mayor because they didn't like the mayor. For whatever reason, I still don't really understand that. So they didn't get any business done. Then there was some new elections, so that cleared the field. So they started meeting, but it seems like there's still quite a bit of contention between the board of aldermen and the mayor. I don't really understand why or what is giving. I really don't, especially people that seem to kind of be supporting the mayor. And like now it's like, nah. So Ms. Sheila. I don't know exactly what the change has been in that dynamic and supporting him, but it's a lot. It's very contentious. And again, like at the end of the day, who loses out?
The people.
We do.
The people, the community.
Especially a municipality like Bell Fountain Neighbors. You know, it's a lot at stake.
Yeah.
It's a lot at stake, and it's just so counterproductive. So counterproductive.
Well, as we're wrapping up, we'd love for you to share where we can find y'all on socials and all the things. So, Shavanna, you want to go first?
So you can find the Hood Talks podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. We have a YouTube channel as well. You can also, I do have also a nonprofit organization called the Hood Connect. So that is, the podcast is one of our programs. You can also find us on social media. Our website is www.hoodconnect.org. It's on my shirt, if you guys can see that. And yeah, social media, I'm on LinkedIn, all of that good stuff. I'm out here. You can Google me too. I'll probably pop up.
Google me. Listen to you.
I probably pop up too. Yeah.
Wow. Google her. Okay. Yeah, that would probably pop up.
I'm sure it would.
So yeah, y'all can catch me Transform 314, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those things. And also, we do this every week. So definitely check us out on our YouTube channel. We have I'm really excited because we've got some very interesting topics. I mean, obviously we're going to delve into the elections results. That's going to be interesting. And yeah, we have a special, we have a special conversation talking about Medicaid, the Medicaid re-enrollment.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a really special conversation towards the end of the month. So
shout out to you all for coming to Kicking It For a Cause. Kicking It For a Cause is something that we also partner on.
Yeah.
And Kicking It For a Cause is a space that we collectively come together to talk about how we can better the Black community. We have fun, we share resources, and we'll be doing another one at the Bay Restaurant.
Next month.
Talking about what's the 411?
Yeah. Medicaid. I know it's always something, but if we can come together again, in spite of the foolery and all the distractions, then we'll be cooking with some gas, as the old folks say.
Yes, I agree.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for spending time with us this evening. Yes, clap. And then for everyone here, before you go, if you would please give us some feedback on this session. There's a QR code here, and then there's one out in the lobby as well. Have a great rest of your night.
Thank you all.